Shot with Telos today. Benji assisted me as we shot about 6 boys at various locations throughout the day. Baseball, rock climbing, the crater up Midway, Park City to mountain bike. The last event was the absolute best, a zip line up Provo Canyon. When we were in the main office, a beautiful blonde girl caught my attention. She was wearing a helmet, so I couldn't tell if she worked there or if she had just finished doing the zip line herself. What do you do in a situation like this? You ask them immediately. That way you know if you need to ask them out ASAP or if you'll have time to get to know them a little bit better. She responded that she worked there and would be our guide. I was pretty stoked. We all got on this doorless outdoor vehicle to climb up to where the zip line started. Shelby came up next to me and hooked up her carabiner to the top crossbar, essentially facing me but leaning out. I asked her a few easy icebreaker questions like how long she had worked there and if she liked it. At one point during the somewhat lengthy ride-up conversation, she took her sunglasses off and dang! I usually don't care too much for eyes, but this girl has some stellar blue eyes. I was definitely starting to like more than just this girl's good looks. Her personality was seemingly friendly and courteous. We shot on the red and on the drone, and I think things turned out fairly well. I liked trying to interact with my new girl interest, even though she was clearly very busy working. Well, so was I, you could say. After the final line was done, I timed things so that I could walk alongside of her as we went back to the office to return all the zipline gear. I didn't have a good chance to ask her out, so I stalled by putting away all my gear in my car. I went back to the office, waited just outside in the doorway so that she could see me and hopefully walk to me thinking that maybe I had a question or something. She did, but so did some other guy that worked there. I was a little disappointed, but I went balls out anyway and asked if I could take her out to dinner sometime. I think she kind of smiled and then replied, "Yeah, do you want to get my phone number or something?" I was super stoked. I walked away feeling on top of the world. Picked her up at 7 p.m. She was super chill about where we ate. We decided on Outback Steakhouse. Conversation went well, I thought. I enjoyed seeing her smile. She really didn't want me to film her for my 1-second daily video clip, but with some coercion she let me. She invited me in once we got to her doorstep, so I took that as a good sign. We sat down on her couch and ended up talking till 11. Throughout the night, I wanted to put my arm around her, but resisted so as to not make her feel uncomfortable or to move things along too quickly. Date number 2. Shelby got bronchitis. We had planned this date before she got sick, so I asked her if she wanted me to bring her food and any medicine. With a bit of reaffirmation that I didn't mind bringing her stuff, she agreed to tell me exactly what she wanted from Zupa's. I brought her some soup, and then we watched a movie called Moonrise Kingdom. Then we ended up cuddling in her bed till she fell asleep, and that's when I left. Date number 3. I had to wait a bit for Shelby to get better before I could take her out again. Picked her up at 6 p.m., hit up our favorite restaurant, the Cheesecake Factory. Every time that we'd hang out, I definitely learned a little bit more about her that I liked. 12 noon, picked up my Shell Bizzle for a fun day date since she had the day off. We started things off with indoor archery at Jake's Archery in Orem. Before we walked in though, while still in the car parking lot, Shelby pulled out of her purse some Dove dark chocolate and 2 things of Gatorade, explaining that she didn't know what flavor to get, so she bought 2. She had previously asked for my favorite candy and drink, and voila, she freaking delivered. She said that she felt bad that I was spending so much money on her, so this was to offset that a tiny bit. You don't even know how much this meant to me. I've never in my life dated a woman that was so conscientious of my spending on the dates and thanked me so often. It makes me feel like I'm on top of the world. Archery was super amazing. We had so much fun, and she arguably was better than me, which I found to be sexy. After archery, we hit up lunch at Maria Bonita's. She tore me up at bowling. We're both very competitive, but not in a negative way. We don't put each other down. This means a lot to me because the type of person that will wait so that they can watch and congratulate, console you is the type of person I want to be around for the rest of my life. She's going to be the type of person who cares about her children and never puts them down. Dang, that drives me wild. What a beautiful home that will be. Seeing that it was still so early in the day, we wanted to keep hanging out, so we threw on a movie, Hot Rod. It's a favorite for both of us. We enjoyed cuddling during the movie, and then afterwards she said she was hungry and told me that she was planning on cooking, inviting me to join her if I so desired. What? I didn't think this date could get any hotter, but now she's offering to cook for me? Before she started cooking anything, I hugged her tightly and kind of flirtatiously nuzzled my nose close to hers. I wasn't planning on kissing her because I wanted to make her wait, but that didn't matter. She straight up made the move on me. Some girls have held my hand first. Some have even asked me out. But no one has kissed me first. Well, we had dinner after that. Chicken drumsticks and barbecue sauce, mashed potatoes and green beans. It was the perfect date. Shelby is the best girl I've ever dated, hands down. She treats me like a king and is smart, sexy, funny, fun, witty, and easy to like. It's great. We hit up the Provo Rec Center for some pool. It is only $2 a person for the unlimited time and unlimited use of the pool tables, ping pong tables, and shuffleboard. $2? So cheap. Love it. Hit up church like normal this afternoon. Kirk and Lauren asked about girls in my life, and it was fun to actually have something to say. Shelby is beautiful, amazing, fun, and everything else that's worthy and socially acceptable to talk about. I still get excited about the furthering development of our relationship. Nailed it. Today was an alright day. Still getting used to this whole Shelby thing. I have mixed emotions. I was super excited about everything, but her lack of commitment while we were beginning to date weighs on my mind. But she's got my 4 S's. Spiritual, sexy, sweet, smart. I feel a bit knocked down or less confident about the success of our relationship. Today's a pretty sad day. After working out together, I broke up with my Shelby Marie Annie. Man, I can't stop crying. She was so dang good to me in every single way possible. I've never dated a girl that treated me better than Shelby. She said thank you to absolutely everything I ever did for her. Sometimes even multiple times. She was gorgeous and had the absolute most gorgeous smile I have ever seen in my entire life. Not only that, but she smiled often and for no reason. But I've just felt over and over again that something isn't right. It's been nagging at me subtly for quite some time. 5:40 p.m. Picked up Shelby. She wanted Mexican food, so we ended up going to Chipotle. 7:30 p.m. Steak Institute. We hit up the Doctrine and Covenants class, which turned out to be really good. Overall, it was just really nice to see Shelby again. I really miss her, and I know she really misses me a lot too. I want to just be friends and not kiss her or anything. I think our friendship is worth maintaining. Haven't written in this bad boy in quite some time. Right now things are going really well. Still dating Shelby. Exactly 1 year ago today, I met Shelby Marie Hanning. Isn't that crazy? We've had our ups and downs, that's for sure, including a time where we weren't dating at all. Most of the day was spent with Shelby up in Salt Lake City. 2 p.m., Conference Center Theater for the musical Savior of the World. 4 p.m., put our names down for Cheesecake Factory, our favorite restaurant. Walked around City Creek and looked for some semi-casual, semi-dressy shoes for me. I was originally planning on proposing the night before, but Shelby was incredibly exhausted super early on, so after the dinner bowling, I had to take her straight home. I also figured that since the latter 2/3 of our first date, and our first kiss, and our first apartment together would all be at her current apartment, maybe it wasn't all that terrible of an idea to propose at her house, so that's what I did. I told her that I updated the website and put a cool new video up. She began to watch a video of me telling her how much I loved her and why. In the end, I was kneeling behind her and asked her to marry me. She said yes, and then hugged me like crazy. It was not the proposal I had dreamed of doing. There was no surprise involved. We already had a wedding date picked out. The temple was already booked. We weren't at a super romantic or epic looking location, but this I can't say. It was us. It was real. And I'm super glad God makes it known that He's the one in charge and things don't always go the way we envision. The days prior to the wedding day were predicting that it would rain on our wedding day. Well, God was extra good to us because it did rain and it did snow, but never while we were outside taking pictures greeting our guests. This picture, the last picture we have together as an unwed couple. It might not seem like a big deal to you, but to me, this was a significant picture. Just moments after this picture, I'd make the greatest decision of my life. Just moments after this, I would be sealed for all time and eternity to my dearest Shelby. Any picture of us taken after may not look crazy different, but inwardly they portray 2 very different stages in our lives. When we walked into the sealing room, everyone was already there. It was so powerful and meaningful to see everyone in there. I was overwhelmed with joy. I began to get emotional pretty early on and totally lost it during the actual ceremony. The sealer counseled us to have eyes for no one else but each other only. He reminded us of the temple covenants, what they mean, and to return to the temple often. We then knelt at the altar and were sealed to one another by the priesthood of God. I couldn't believe such a magnificent event was actually happening to me. I've shot so many weddings over the years that it just didn't seem real that it'd be me on the altar. Following the ordinance, there were hugs and brief remarks shared. Her grandpa said he'd always wondered where Shelby's knight in shining armor was, but then said to me, "But I'm sure you were out slaying dragons." I don't know why, but that particular combination of comments really impressed me. It didn't have any apparent instruction or advice, but it made me think about the timing in our lives. We don't always know when specific things will happen to us, but we must always be using our time wisely, for we never know how much of it we will be given. Next, we were ready to have our celebratory exit. I've shot this same exact moment for dozens of other couples, but this time, it was me. It was Shelby. It was Mr. and Mrs. Ahlmann. The anticipation leading up to the exit was exhilarating, and the actual grand exit made my heart beat so fast. It was just such an incredibly exciting moment to hear everyone cheering for our having made such a significant decision in our lives. After photos, we decided to take a break by heading over to Jesse and Rachel's place. That's where the Hanny side was gathered, and we hadn't seen or visited with many of them up until this point. That's when present opening began. Shelby loves opening gifts. Like, she gets crazy excited about it and rarely has the patience to wait to open them. 5 p.m. Headed over to the venue. As I expected, it was crazy busy trying to chat with everyone for a minute or two, especially if I hadn't seen them in years. I barely met any of Shelby's side. It was hard enough to even give my own side enough time. From what I heard, it seemed like the slow-mo booth was a hit, and a lot of people were down to try it. Shelby and I forgot to do it ourselves until the very end of the night when Casey told us that we hadn't come through it. Duh. So we did it real quick and loved it. The thing absolutely everyone said when reviewing the evening was that they were utterly impressed by how amazing the food was. Like, seriously, that's the only thing people remember. It was expensive, but I'm glad we did it right. Ryan Dady did a good job playing to the large crowd. One!
I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula in chemistry. Your memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the brakes. I'm talking one chance at best, yes. Painting pictures for the culture, keep the brushes fresh. Flip the cover, work the drummer, passion never rests. Freedom is our teacher, under pressure, now we blessed. See, I was so good for the goal. It's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go! Yeah! It's one art, one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Overall, the whole evening was an amazing time. Our send-off was pretty simple. We just walked out of there with people cheering for us. What a great day. And what a lucky man I am to have Shelby. Shelby.